Hello, friends. This is John Klein III, episode 238 of Shadow and Flame of Magic, your premier Kitty Pride, Lockheed, and Magic podcast. And today we're going to review X-Men 97, Season 2, Episode 5, Weapon X Lies and DVDs, and then continue our Dark Web coverage with Dark Web X-Men number 3. And then spoil the heck out of X-Men Volume 733, Inglorious X-Force 7, Infernal Hulk 9, and very quickly Avengers Armageddon 2. But first, Marvel announced that CBC Bowski is stepping down as editor-in-chief. He's going to go back to Japan. He's very influential there and has deep ties with Japan. And Marvel Comics is going to move to California, and apparently like 100 of their employees as well, which immediately made me think of Conan O'Brien moving his late night show to the Tonight Show, moving all those people to California, and then that nonsense. And then he got the TBS job, and then was able to keep, I think, most of the employees. And so, hopefully, whoever makes that move have a bit of a parachute for them. Just thinking about them in these trying times. And the new editor-in-chief is going to be Steve Waker, who apparently was pretty successful at DC and then at Marvel a couple years ago. He was around during the creation of Miss Marvel. I've been seeing people shorthanded, so I'm like, oh, okay, that was a while ago, though. But yeah, some exciting news. And then next week is San Diego Comic Con, so usually I record on Fridays, so we'll at least know the Wolverine PS5 panel. And then on Saturday, I don't know, there's no clear X-Men panel, but there is a Marvel Next Big Thing panel. So we'll see what next big thing it is. I'm sure they'll just promote the X-Men Fantastic Four DNX crossover, but I don't know. It'd be interesting to see what comes out. I've been hearing people say Exception X-Men is not survived. Nope. X-Men United's not going past issue 10, which is going to mean that series is going to have an interesting omnibus one day. But yeah, see what everything looks like in October. Maybe we'll get the Lobo Lockheed in print. That'd be nice. All right, everyone. So we get X-Men 97 Season 2, Episode 5, Weapon X Lies in DVD. I didn't recognize the voice of the previously on. It might not be Morph, but maybe it's Maverick or Sabretooth. It's definitely a male voice. I remember that. It's a 30-minute episode. We get the full team credit. Forge was added, which I appreciate. Um, we also, throughout the retro clips, we see a bunch of Weapon X clips, and then reminded that Miracle is Lady Deathstrike in this Fox verse, so that was a good reminder. The team, the gang that Logan got back together is Maverick, Kane, Sabretooth, and Lady Deathstrike, and Morph is their pilot. Morph comments on Logan and Victor's will they, won't they, which is cute. Sabretooth, I don't know, Sabretooth and Lady Deathstrike are amazing in this episode. Sabretooth wastes no time referring to Morph as Logan's ex-pet, which is cute. And then Lady Deathstrike references a Japanese shape-shifting fox that is a sidekick to a solo male character. And so it's like, oh, like both of them peg Morph very well. We get Logan in his brown and tan suit. There's the plane, the chopper crashes, and as Garrison Kane makes a funny joke, we see that he also got thrown through a tree, or actually, a tree is thrown through him. Um, we see there's mutated birds around the base. There's a mutated polar bear, I believe it was. Morphed into Sasquatch, which was cool from Alpha Flight. Logan has his bone claws and his nose, so we're confused why he's even looking for Weapon X. Um, Sabretooth wants to know all Wolverine's business. I like how Morph is wearing a Weapon X inspired suit for himself. Like that's nice. He is part of this gang. I'm really noticing this issue episode where Logan's all hunched over, and I don't remember him being like that with the other when he had his adamantium, so maybe he's just hunched over in pain constantly. I'm not sure about that. Oh yeah, I like how everyone else on the gang is just calm about it, but Morph is freaking out at the Weapon X facility. Uh, we didn't get like a full repeat of the mid-credit scene, but they know about this location because Captain America and Black Widow gave Logan the file for it. But I think in this episode we only hear their voices and maybe some hands. They're there looking for Dr. Cornelius. And Morph is trying to get everyone to think about how they're going to get home without the chopper, but everyone's pretty much on the same page that the mission comes first and they'll figure out how to get home as they obviously will get home. Um, we start seeing that something has murdered the scientists or completely slaughtered them. Morph references Clayton Creed, which I like that this is the first time I believe we've gotten Sabretooth's opinion of Clayton Creed, and he wishes he had killed him way earlier. On the video of Dr. Cornelius, they find references a queen, so it's like, what's that about? And then we learn what that's about is Dr. Cornelius turns into a brood, and we get the brood in this series. And I don't believe they showed up in the original 92 series. But now that we have the brood, maybe we'll get their greatest enemy, the Lockheed. And just like, oh, what good timing. I'm sure Gail Simone was told, hey, one of these episodes is going to be the brood. One of you should work it into your series. And Gail was like, well, I'm doing great work, so I'll do it. But, it's this cool synergy. And then it also makes me wonder if this is the reason why we're getting Alien versus X-Men as well. And I finally found it on comic book League of Geeks where this actually is called Alien versus X-Men, and the whole time you're looking for Aliens versus X-Men. But I don't know why their search function doesn't give you Aliens versus X-Men or Alien versus X-Men in a scenario. Like you think it would at least prop up. Um, Logan makes a reference to Lady Deathstrike's first episode in the 92 series about how that involved a crash alien story. So that's fun. Logan mentions how they gotta go deeper into the base to get out of the base, and that's just a classic moment. And then this is when I realize that this is clearly a John Carpenter's The Thing episode about how all of them have to pair up and stay together because any of them could be infected. And then I'm reminded that Exiles Morph has a history of the Brood. Especially now that I said it out loud, I'm pretty sure it was Exiles Mimic who had the history of the Brood. Yeah. We get the teams. It's Maverick and Wolverine on one team, and Lady Deathstrike, Sabretooth, and Morph on the other team. Okay, this is where Lady Deathstrike mentions Tomo, the magical shapeshifting fox. Sabretooth references how he's over 200 years old, which that feels new information. We see an entire row of DVDs, including X-23, Ajax, Aurora, Phantom X, Wolverine, um, something that looks like SIDE, but I don't know. Then there's a Zorn, a Cyborg, Mastodon, Winter Soldier, Weapon 11, Ant, Garrison Kane, Sabretooth, Agent Zero, Kimura, Worm, Slogo, Crystro, and then the Marvel at the end. So I'm like, all right. Some of these I recognize, but some are like, what's Ant in reference to? We do get them calling the Brood, so that's cool. We see a video of Maggot being turned into a brood creature. And so we've lost both Maggot and Meryl. So we'll see if Dr. Cecilia Reyes shows up on this series or not. Oh, this is when I start noticing that Sabretooth's a very big boy in this episode. And then I start wondering which of these characters can get affected that we can spare. And I don't have much history of Garrison Kane, but it's just nice that they gave him a character moment at the beginning of the episode. And then we see the Brood have caught up to them. Morph believes the Brood want to breed with Logan, as he's the best there is, and they like to breed with the best. They come across Omega Red in a tube. They keep mentioning the Brood like to breed, and excuse me. This is the first time I ever noticed that brood and breed literally, you know, same, like one's double O and one's double E. And how crazy is that? Like that doesn't work. You can't do bride or brood, or bride. But yeah, brood like to breed. Like that's just clever. Um, they catch up to Maverick, who gives a game over, which is an aliens reference. So that was fun. So we find out that Logan is carrying a brood egg, and we get an Uncanny X-Men 234 cover homage, which is cool, on the Mark Silvestri art. And then I started realizing, oh, can we spare Logan? Like I wasn't even thinking of it as an option. And at one time, Sabretooth isn't great at killing Wolverine. It has to be this day, like of course. They break Omega Red's chamber, so now we have another threat. Morphed, morphed into Deadpool. So now we're down to three characters. The mission is done. Logan is lost, and Sabretooth and Lady Deathstroke just start walking away. Morph changes to Silver Samurai, and then threatens Sabretooth with a sword, which I'm like, well, what part of Morph's body is the sword? Um, this feels like a very long walk to get Wolverine's adamantium back to put it in him, but we learned that the adamantium will keep the brood back, and so if they put the adamantium in Logan's body, apparently that will kill the brood infection. Morph changes to Cyclops and begins taunting Logan with smooches, which must have been very fun for the Cyclops voice actor. We get Brood Vereen versus Sabretooth, and then we get Brood Vereen clawing Morph. Lady Deathstrike's now in the booth. Um, well, she gets Bruderine into the chamber, and then Sabretooth's now in the booth, so they did a little swap there. And he has to push the button to give the adamantium back. And then we start hearing this giant security wall get banged against, and it's so much more brood. And then Omega Red comes in and kills so many of them, so we shouldn't have to worry about that. And then morphed into Spider-Man, so that's this great synergy. And he's Spider-Man for a while too, like lots of backflips. Logan has his adamantium back, and he's back, baby, which we saw in all the previews. And then poor Omega Red just keeps being left behind. And then we shouldn't have to worry about this brood colony infecting anybody as they all get burnt up. I'm sure there's plenty in space still. But unfortunately, that makes us realize Maverick's body's just left in there to get burned. So no one's giving him a funeral. That's sad. And then Logan and Morph have a chat on the flight back home about how Logan's the best at being an animal of claws, which is sad for Morph to hear him saying. And also sad for Morph because he tries to snap Brood Vereen out of his killer bloodlust, but then he changes into Gene and he's immediately like Gene and calms down where it's like, oh, Morph. Um, and then Logan with his adamantium still out, marveling at them, like looks at his reflection through the claws, but also looking with Morph in like his line of sight. And Morph looks back at him and sees the claws and looks away. But like, what a weird thing to do. No mid-credit scene, and next episode is Danger.exe. So we'll see how animated Danger does on this series. So yeah, pretty solid episode. It does seem like we're getting a lot of done in one episode, which is fun, but it's also like we're going to get 10 episodes, so okay. But I think issue episode two is still my favorite, and four, five, one and two. No, no, no. One and three. Doesn't seem bad. But yeah, that's been my ranking so far. So yeah, Dark Web X-Men number three, everybody. Final issue in the series. miniseries. And this came out March 2023. You can I'll be making a read along video on my YouTube and TikTok channel at Jacko SII, and then I'm gonna on Saturday morning and then Sunday morning you'll be able to see the pure slideshow from this issue. I think it's like 9 images, so I'm like, if I speed up the video, maybe we'll flirt with copyright issues. So this is March 2023, brought to us by Jerry Duggan as the writer. Artist is Ron Rice and Phil Noto. VC's Corey Pettit does the lettering. Designs by Tom Muir or Jay Bowen. I got the great Phil Noto cover. VC's Corey Pettit does production. Lauren Amaro is the associate editor. Jordan D. White is the editor. And CB Cebulski is the editor in chief. And the X-Men were created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. And the issue title is Two Redheads Enter, One Leaves. And previously on Dark Web X-Men. Alan Pryor, the clone of Jean Grey, has joined forces with Ben Reilly, the clone of Peter Parker. Harboring resentment from different lives as clones, the Goblin Queen and Shazam have engulfed New York in chaos as demons of Limbo run wild. As the rest of X-Men fight to protect Manhattan, Madeline has captured Jean Grey, Havoc, Magic, and Cyclops in her Limbo stronghold. Trapping the Summers brothers in the dungeon, Madeline has caught Jean and Magic in an illusion to help her force one of the Krakoa Cerebro drives, but Jean Grey is an Omega mutant for nothing. And we begin. Forge is destroying the demon-infected inanimate objects and sinks there as well, doing his part. Um, he starts trying to calm the goblin anim objects down with using a flute, which is cute. We get a quote from Jean Grey: "Being at peace with yourself can sometimes be difficult, even more when you've been cloned." Then we get a great history of Madeline Pryor. She's giving birth to Nathan. She's falling in love with Scott. Uh, you see Sinister cooking her. We get a great image of baby Nathan and baby Strife, with Nathan in Sinister's arms and Strife in Apocalypse's. And Madeline getting her heart broken by both Summers brothers and her um getting the thrown to Limbo. And then Jean Grey and Madeline Pryor are just fighting each other in an epic battle of telekinesis. We see Magic is in her status chamber, or I guess maybe not a chamber, just a status field. And Madeline Pryor just wants her memories back. And which, when Madeline died in Infernal, as she was dying, our memories seeped into Jean's head, and then Madeline's been back for a bit and doesn't have those memories, so she wants them back. And then Madeline realizes she doesn't have to fight her just purely on telekinesis. She has her goblin horde and starts letting them fight Jean for a bit, which is fun. And then Jean takes care of that threat, and then the ladies just start resulting in fisticuffs. And then Jean gets a moment of rest and wakes up Magic and gives her a full update. And then Jean's just like, you know what? I surrender. And the two ladies are like, what? You are? And then Magic gives us a thumbs up panel as she's going to go rescue everyone to get them out of limbo. And Jean's sharing Madeline about how such a good baby Nathan was. And Madeline's like, I want it all, the good, the bad, the first steps, the burps, the farts. And then Jean's like, then you should have them. And then Madeline just gets all her memories back. And honestly, solves the day because I do not know why. Like, Madeline wants her memories, and then Ben Riley's been wanting Peter to give him his memories because he just feels like he's a walking shell of a creature. And I'm not sure why Jean never went, hey, Peter, is it okay if I give him the memories? Because clearly Peter will retain them. And because Jean keeps these memories, they're, part of her. and like just give Ben the memories he has that Peter has. Like Dark Web, I mean, spoilers for Dark Web Dawn, but it is not resolved by Peter being like, "Oh, you just want your memories? Hey, Gene, you're a telepath. Let me do it." So, yeah, just weird. We got a data page of Gene Gray notes. A few of the cherished memories Gene shared with Maddie. Nathan only left behind one baby tooth before heading into the future, and it later went missing. Even though there was no evidence of this, everyone just assumed it was Mr. Sinister. What a creep. Maddie was also interested in her own funeral. Her body was cremated and a very small service was held. Aside from the priest, the only attendees were the original X-Men and baby Nathan. Having a funeral for the Goblin Queen presided over by a priest was perhaps a weird decision, but it was the thought that counted, and Maddie was glad to have a look into it. The truth is, none of the memories shared were minute by minute, blow by blow accounts. What Maddie inherited from Jean were emotional cores of those days. The highs, the lows of being a mutant, a mother, and that time a member of X Factor. Maddie's heart broke for Jean when she and Scott gave the baby to the future to save him from the techno-organic virus. Jean also gave Maddie more recent memories of Cable. His young teen self was an important piece of the formation of Krakoa. And while he's already moved on, they had so many big adventures and small meals together, and Maddie was invited to enjoy them all. How is this light will affect her darker impulses as well? A story for another day. And so Jean and Madeline are going to make peace, and Jean says, "Hey, say the words." And Madeline's like, "Really?" And Jean makes her a telekinetic megaphone, and then Madeline just lets loose a few to meet my X-Men. A well earned. And then we see the Summers boys show up with all the dogs on leashes, which is super cute. And And then Madeline wants to go back to New York to fix her mistakes. So Magic has brought the X-Men back, Forge, Iceman, Firestar, and Sync. And they're gonna go back to New York and fix the problem. We get a great page of them back in New York with Madeline saying, you missed me learning who the X-Men really are and what it means to be one. You put your faith in me, Magic. I let you down, but this is my mess, and I'm still the queen of limbo, so it's time for me to clean it up. This ends now. And then Magic says, plus we got to return those dogs to the owners, right? Or can we keep one or two? And the war concludes in Dark Web Dawn. Shout out to my sister-in-law, Dawn. And but first we are going to do Amazing Spider-Man, I believe it's volume 618. It's definitely issue 18, but which issue isn't? It came out January 25th, so 6 days before my birthday. So that's interesting. Yeah. Well, and then we're slowly making our way to Spider-Man Brand New Day. So that's fun. But yeah. All right, everyone, let's get to comics. So X-Men Volume 733. Kenton Quire Ben Liu attempt to free Schwarzschild mine that's under the 3K control. Magneto is constantly telling 70s Beast that time is limited and he's going to kill Schwarzschild. Right as he's about to, Quire comes out stopping Magneto. Ben Liu isn't thrilled, so I wonder if he'll jump over to 3K now that now that the Alaskan X-Men have one of theirs. Maybe that's a potential. And next issue is a Juggernaut issue, so hopefully we also get Magic in it. Inglorious X-Force 7. We catch up to Domino, who still doesn't have her memories, but she's running and she runs across some jerks. Cable and the Inglorious X-Force have a MLFer hostage, which brings Cyclops and Quentin Quire to the base. I love seeing Nathan and Scott together. That's nice, even if Cable is trying to hide information from his father. I really like the energy Quire brings with the help brings with Wolverine and Archangel. Would have been nice if Scott and Warren had a moment together, but at least they said their farewells to each other. Like that's nice. Infernal Hulk 9, no mutants in this issue, which is a shame as I pre-ordered it. Iron Man sends Captain Marvel on a mission she doesn't want to go on. She feels like she should be better served on Earth. Banner finds Dr. Voodoo and needs to be taken to a dimension to find someone using a Hulk body. I like Dr. Voodoo making a reference to Banner being an addict. He finally quit the Hulk but now he wants to go back to the monster. Banner agrees to a riddle game. If he wins, he gets the Hulk body. And if he loses, the being gets Dr. Voodoo, which is gross as he didn't agree to that plan. The issue ends with Charlie, a character in the previous series, returning, and she's also a werewolf gal that I'm pretty sure we knew during that series. But yeah, and just one more issue, as Marvel current comics usually end at issue 10 these days. And Avengers Armageddon 2, we get the Avengers versus Red Hulk, and Logan's there too. There's some big fight scenes. Colton, the new Cap, defeats Red Hulk pretty easily, but Iron Man isn't happy with Colton. Red Hulk escapes, as does Colton, and we get a vision of an atomic bomb exploding. Yeah, I question. So this is the big crossover of the summer, but I'm like, whatever. Avengers, you do what you do. And next week should be an exciting week. We get X-Men Hellfire Murder, um, which Kitty Pryde should be in there. She was definitely in the preview pages. Moonstar 5's final issue, which I'm going to be sad about. Uncanny X-Men Volume 632 with the Brood. Wolverine Volume 824, um, which he's fighting that guy who stole his healing factor. Gambit Wanted One, Gambit Retro series by Chris Claremont. And it takes place in Gambit first meeting the X-Men. So he has baby, or not baby, but Storm's a child going by Rue, which if you're a big fan of X-Men Forever, which I am, we got lots of Gambit and Little Rue in that. So it'd be cool to see Claremont go back to those characters. Godzilla Conquers the Multiverse 1. And I looked at every panel in the previews and I did not see magic in any of them. So we'll see. And Dark Marvel or Captain Marvel Dark Past 4. So we've been seeing a lot of movies. We've been taking advantage of Cinemark's discount Tuesday movies, and I really got to make my update my 2026 films we watch in the theaters because it's July now, and I'm pretty sure I haven't updated that since February, but that's on me. Plus, we're getting some movies that are coming up. But we saw Mulan at the live action, and it seemed fine. Um, like almost all the action sequences were just extended a couple minutes. So it's just one of those things where it's like this probably didn't have to be made, but I guess cool to see The Rock as Moana. But yeah. Top X comics are the same. Magic and Colossus 5, Marvel Swimsuit Special, Brand New Beach Day, Moonstar 4, Infernal Hulk 7, X-Men United 1, top half, and then Avengers Volume 934, Generation X 23 1, X-Men 97 Season 2, Issue 1, Short Supreme 3, and Jay's and Bob Jay's a Future Past. So should be good. And I launched Patreon, which I mostly is because I read I don't know, like it fills me with such shame that I can't just afford Zoom. So I got a couple of tiers on there. Like I did the basic $1 tier and a $5 tier. $5 tier, like the show is always going to be free, like the main feed. Um, and so pretty much it's to say if you donate, I'm going to say your name on the show. You donate $1, I'll say it once. $5, I'll say it, you know, for sure the one time you do it, and then maybe the beginning of every month I'll name the $5 tiers. And then I made a $17 tier that will just pay for my Zoom account. Um, so once I get someone to donate there, I would or if I get, four $5 tiers, then I can do the Zoom that way. But I just I know I want to make the podcast bigger and better and get interviews on here, but and I looked into a bunch of other video conference apps, and they're all pretty much you can record by yourself for free, but once you add a second person, it's monthly fees. And so I'm just like, well, I'm making a show for cheap. It's a passion project, but if I can get Zoom paid for, that'd be pretty nice. And then we get more donors, and then they'll pay for my comics, and then um, my wife teaches, and so money's just always tight. And so, yeah, it was just, and then whenever we do a interview episode, the Zoom person tier would definitely get their name said. They get a special thanks in the beginning of the episode. I'll say at the end, you will hear your name aplenty. But yeah, no hidden content. I don't know. There's some podcasts I listen to, and it bugs me so much when it's like Patreon exclusive. We did this and this, and I'm just like, oh man, so I'm just missing content. Like I like the idea of this is the feed, but also I get the idea of it. I'm just broken. So it's just that guy on the in front of the paywall, like what's going on back there? But anyways, so yeah, the show will always be free. And I will just do shout outs and um I don't know. If it blows up, maybe I will do mini pods of just thoughts on things, but we'll see how that goes. And so yeah, launching it, see how it goes, and it's embarrassing. So thank you everyone for listening or watching on YouTube. If you want to read my thoughts, you can go to shoutonflamewithmagic.com. I'm on all the socials, TikTok, Blue Sky, um, YouTube at JackOSII, um, and Fallout 76, which I've become super addicted to. I have Romance Commander Doug, oh no, Sophia the astronaut, and we're on first name basis. And so I was like, hey, you can romance her. So I was like, well, let me do the quest line. And I think it turned into 11 videos later, did it? And so now I'm just going to try to do the trophy quests. And I think the next one I want to do is Recruitment Blues. I mean, I won't make videos, but in case you're wondering what I'm doing gaming wise, it's a lot of Fallout 76 until Wolverine comes out in September, which my plan for that is to um, take the day off from work, which I already got that greenlit, so that's cool. And then I'm just gonna upload an hour at a time and see how that plays out. Um, so I don't know, very looking forward. It's so nice as an adult to look forward to something. And so that'd be Wolverine in September, Spider-Man Brand New Day, in July, Doomsday with all the X-Men content. Apparently there was a Japanese, I don't know, Comic-Con of sorts, and they had the big Avengers Doomsday poster, and the X-Men were right and center in it. So I was like, that is amazing. Give me all that X-Men content, please. Um, oh yeah, and then I don't know if Patreon goes insane, maybe I buy the Marvel Tokon fighting game and do video. I mean, I'm no good at it, but there's Marvel games I would love to own. What's another one? Um, I know there's that Capcom Marvel Fighting Collection that I really want to get one day. It came with the Punisher game too, but one of the games I never got to play, but Meryl was a character in it. I'm like, well, that'd be awesome. I keep wanting to YouTube to see if anyone ever played X-Men Destiny because my PS3 died. It got the yellow light of death, and I never got to because I played Fallout 3 so much and it killed it. But I never got to play Batman Arkham Origins or the Captain America game that I heard was fun, or Thor or X-Men Destiny. And they were PS3 games, and so yeah, they never ported those to the PS4 or 5. And they're licensed games, so we never get them until like 20 years from now when someone's like, hey, remember X-Men Destiny? Here you go. Because I keep thinking one day we get X-Men Legends and I'll buy that set. Like as soon as I pre-order, I do that. And I was leading. Oh, there's all these rumors about the PS6 coming out, but they can barely afford to make PS5. So I don't know. I keep hearing all the discussion online about like no one's gonna buy the PS6 for like $1,000, much less $1,200. And it's like, yeah, I mean, I just got the PS5 for last Christmas, so I'm like, I'm good for 2 years. Like, uh, I'll just turn it into a Fort. Oh, hey, Fortnite has a DC Beach collab, which is unfortunate. So, they could have made an X-Men collab and taken all my money, but thankfully they didn't. But there's a Batman Catwoman bundle that has my eye. If we could afford the $20, I would buy that immediately. As I don't know, you get Ace the Bat Dog, you get the Bat beach slippers, a Batman beach suit that you can actually take the mask off, which I remember when Walker was getting into really into Fortnite years ago, he was always like, I want a Batman, you take the mask off, and here we go. It is odd. It is just Bruce Wayne in shorts, but sure. The ladies look okay. Catwoman, Poison Ivy, and Harley Quinn naturally. Um, Walker tells me there's a Spider-Man Brand New Day suit that's supposed to be coming. That's like, all right. Um, if it could be in the store until mid-September, maybe we can buy the kid a $10 card or whatever and be like, hey, thanks kid for your patience for this summer. Um, but yeah. So, and then there's the podcast socials on Instagram. It's SNFWM. Ugh, thank you. The on Patreon, you can look for Shadow and Flame of Magic, but you can also look under as SNFWM. Um, and Instagram. Oh, and Blue Sky. Which I did remember today to post the link to the previous episode. So I was like, yeah, like you gotta promote it because on the podcast I'm always like, and Blue Sky. So it's like sure. So that everyone's episode 238. Thank you so much for listening or watching. And I there we go. So, everyone, please don't have any shadows of doubt. Ignite those flames and make like magic and have a great week. And I will talk to you next time. All right, everyone. Adios.